What do you mean it's only been one day? I challenged you to beat a short game. How are you not done yet? Okay. You got to the end of the month, but I already beat Gone Home. So how was it? Gone Home is a walking simulator. If you don't know what that is, it's an adventure game with very few puzzles and mostly walking around and listening to the story beats. It's almost a slightly more interactive visual novel, using its environment to tell the story, as well as its text. Gone Home is one of the most basic forms of this gameplay style. If you're looking for something to shake up the walking simulator genre, this is not it. So why then did Gone Home receive so much critical acclaim when it first came out? Let's find out. It's the year 1995. You play as Katie, who just got back from a trip overseas. No one is home though. You let yourself into your massive home and begin uncovering what happened. At first, this seems like a setup for a horror game. Gone Home isn't a horror game though. It's got some dark themes, but it's not trying to be scary. So if you hate scary games, don't worry. The main gameplay here is walking around and searching for relevant items that will trigger an explanation from Katie's sister Samantha.
Oh my god. You are so lucky you finished high school before we moved into this house. So, it's the first day of school, and there I am, introducing myself to the class. And I say that I just moved into the house on Arbor Hill. All of a sudden, every kid in the room turns and just stares like I suddenly transformed into a mutant. I just stood there, wishing pretty hard for a rewind button. Because now maybe nobody knows my name, but they all know who I am. The Psycho House Girl. Great.
While these are the main items you need to make progress, you can find a ton of other materials or notes that reveal a lot about the family. These are what really make the game shine. The game is mostly story, so from this point on we're going to be talking spoilers. If you want to avoid all that, please use the timestamp on the screen. However, I recommend you just buy the game and play it yourself. It's pretty cheap and it's only about 2 hours long, and then come back and get my thoughts. This family, like most families, has a complicated past. It's not black and white, good or bad. It's just a bunch of people taking what life gives them and making decisions. Eventually, we uncover that Samantha had a troubled childhood. She had a rebellious side and often clashed with her parents. She meets a girl named Lonnie and eventually finds herself in love with her.
Lonnie, do you think you could ever... And that's when she kissed me.
Something not even fully accepted today, and certainly not in the 90s. Lonnie is headed for boot camp though, and will have to leave Samantha. However, at the last minute, Lonnie decides she can't live without Samantha. This is why Samantha isn't home. She left to meet up with Lonnie.
She'd been on the bus to basic, and she said she couldn't think of anything but me and us, and that she couldn't go through with it.
I appreciate how it isn't totally cliche either. You expect your parents to clash with the idea of her daughter being a lesbian. They do a bit, but they're still trying to work with their daughter. They still let her hang out with Lonnie even though they don't fully understand it. They're trying their best while dealing with their own issues. Throughout the game, there are a ton of optional notes to find. Your parents will have their own story to tell. Your father is a failed author who has taken up drinking. Instead of writing novels, he's making ends meet by writing reviews for home electronics. There is also some subtly implied child abuse which led to your father becoming the way he is. Your mother had also begun having an affair with a coworker after your father became distant. It's all heartbreaking. The best part about it though, is these things are not the plot drivers that you think they are. Just like real life, people are complicated. Your father eventually finds success with his novels and actually was a loving father despite his troubled past and disagreements with Samantha. Your mother and father are actually gone because they're on a counseling trip right now. They're working through their issues. It's not just cut and dry. There's a lot to unpack here. It's one of the most realistic interpretations of what people are really like. Plus, the game has some rockin' music. Gone Home is a great story that's worth unraveling. You know, with it being a walking simulator, the gameplay is going to be very limited. I think there was only 2 or 3 very light puzzles throughout the whole game. The rest of the game is walking and listening to the story. Still, if you want a good game and you're short on time, Gone Home will suffice. Another challenge down. The next challenge will be available at the beginning of January. You still have the whole rest of the month to beat this challenge, so get on it. Beat those games.